Imagine a time when rain stopped falling for years across the eastern Mediterranean. Between 1250 and 1200 BCE, fields dried up, and farmers had no grain. Beginning around 1250 BCE, there is evidence of very dry weather, which almost certainly would have caused crop failures, researchers warn. And Kanievsky et al., 2010, have suggested that a centuries-long megadrought caused the widespread systems collapse of Bronze Age palatial civilization. With no food, people left home looking for the new lands. Some became the sea peoples, pressing into places like Egypt and Cyprus. This late Bronze Age drought added fuel to the Bronze Age collapse, tearing at empires already under stress. In this episode, we'll link empty fields and hungry crowds to the rise of the sea peoples and show how nature's fury can topple great kingdoms. If you're excited to learn more, hit like and subscribe. Between 1250 and 1200 BCE, the eastern Mediterranean faced a harsh, long-lasting drought. Scientists studying pollen and cave formations known as Speleothems found that rain fell much less than before. One study reports a devastating drought from 1250 to 1100 BCE caused the collapse of civilization in the southern Levant. Farmers watched their fields turn brown, and grains shrank by as much as 50% in some regions. In Egypt, the Nile's floodwaters dropped. Without enough silt and water, crops failed for years. Ancient letters complain of no bread and rising food prices. At the same time, in the Hittite Empire, 3 straight years of severe drought in an already dry period starved both people and livestock. When animals died, carts could not move and trade slowed to a crawl. Coastal cities like Ugarit and Mycenae depended on farms inland. As fields dried, these ports saw fewer ships carrying olive oil and wheat. Researchers warn this evidence indicates a centuries-long period of drought that likely caused crop failures and widespread starvation. With less food, rulers struggled to pay their soldiers and workers, so palaces could not keep control. These stresses forced common people to move or revolt. Some groups left empty farms and joined raiding parties. Others, later called the Sea Peoples, sailed from one shore to another looking for food and land. By weakening kingdoms from within, drought and famine set the stage for unrest, mass migrations, and the attacks that would shake the late Bronze Age world. Scientific evidence of drought. Scientists use 2 main tools to see past rain levels: pollen data and speleothems, which are cave mineral layers. In Cyprus, researchers collected ancient pollen grains from lake beds. They found a sharp drop in Mediterranean tree pollen between 1250 and 1100 BC, signaling much less rain and shrinking forests. In caves under Israel's hills, thin speleothem rings show dry years. An analysis found an unusually severe, continuous dry period from around 1198 to 1196, give or take 3 years BC. Signals the type of episode that can overwhelm contemporary risk-buffering practices. Together, these records prove a long drought, one lasting over a century, struck the eastern Mediterranean. Economic impact on food and trade. Less rain meant smaller harvests. In some areas, grain yields fell by 30 to 50%. No rain led to crop failures and empty storehouses. As one study warns, a devastating drought from 1250 to 1100 BCE caused the collapse of civilization in the southern Levant. Price spikes. Clay tablets record that wheat prices tripled in Ugarit when harvests failed. Lost trade. Egypt's Nile floods fell by up to 20%, so less surplus grain went to Lebanon or Cyprus. Ships that once carried olive oil and pottery sat empty. Tax trouble. Pharaohs and kings relied on farm taxes to pay soldiers and build temples. Without grain, their treasuries ran dry, and armies went unpaid. This breakdown in trade and taxes sent shockwaves through the palace economies. Royal stores ran out, craftsmen went hungry, and state projects ground to a halt. As food ran out, common people faced a stark choice: stay and starve or move. Texts mention bands of hungry warriors raiding towns for grain. These refugees and raiders fused into migrating groups later called the Sea Peoples. Egyptian records describe those who come from the sea attacking coastal towns around 1180 BCE. Cyprus saw garrison settlements collapse under repeated attacks from newcomers searching for food. Archaeology in the Levant shows burnt city layers dated to this era, signs of desperate violence for limited resources. Historian Israel Finkelstein explains, in a short period of time, the entire world of the Bronze Age crumbled after drought hit hard. And as Kanievsky and colleagues found, a centuries-long megadrought caused the widespread systems collapse of Bronze Age palatial civilization. Picture a farmer in Ugarit named Nabu. His olive trees barely produced oil, and his barley failed. He owed grain tribute to the palace, but had none to give. Starving, he joins a boat crew, the Sea Peoples, raiding an Egyptian port for wheat and taking over farmland. This human story repeats across the region. Drought strips fields, hunger drives people to sea raids, and kingdoms must defend coasts and cities on two fronts: nature and invaders. Drought alone did not topple all empires, but it weakened every link in the late Bronze Age chain. When food ran out, armies shrank, trade froze, and social order fractured. Then the Sea Peoples and other groups pressed in, attacking weakened shores. In Egypt, Pharaoh Rameses III fought off sea raiders, but admitted in his inscriptions no land could stand before them. In Mycenae, palaces burned and Linear B tablets stopped recording shipments. Ugarit's letters cry, "Our ships are gone, our fields wasted before the city falls." When rains finally returned after 1200 BCE, the map of the eastern Mediterranean looked very different. Many great palaces lay in ruins, and new groups filled the gaps. The Phoenician city-states rose on former Ugarit trade routes. They built fast ships and spread their alphabet, shaping writing for centuries. In Cyprus and southern Levant, small Syro-Hittite kingdoms mixed Hittite and local customs into fresh cultures. Iron tools became common. With drought behind them, farmers used strong iron plows to work tougher soils, boosting food supplies. As one scholar observes, climate change may have fueled drought, the invasions and eventually the collapse of these civilizations in what historians call the Late Bronze Age crisis. The Sea Peoples' raids also forced stronger defenses. Egypt's Pharaoh Rameses III built massive walls and recorded that no land could stand before them, showing the scale of the threat. Though many invaders were repelled, their movements reshaped populations and politics. From this upheaval came new trade networks, writing systems, and iron technology, lessons in how societies adapt after environmental and economic stress. Between 1250 and 1200 BCE, long droughts and crop failures shook the late Bronze Age world. Fields dried, prices soared, and hungry people left home to raid or migrate, becoming the Sea Peoples who struck Egypt and beyond. Scientific data like pollen drops and cave rings prove a century-long dry spell, while tablets show wheat prices tripling and armies unpaid. This environmental and economic stress weakened empires so much that even mighty pharaohs struggled to defend their coasts. Thanks for joining episode 2 of our Sea Peoples series. If you found out how drought and famine fueled the Bronze Age collapse, give this video a like, drop a comment on what surprised you most, and subscribe for episode 3, where we'll explore the Sea Peoples' epic invasion. Stay curious.